Okay, so today I will be talking about the mating behaviors and rituals of bowerbirds. Descriptions of mating behaviors. Mating behaviors are behaviors an animal has when reproducing and around parenthood. Parts of behaviors, common modes of communication that are in animals are visual, chemical, tactile, and auditory. Mating behaviors exist for a variety of reasons, but often for sexual and in some cases parental selection. For example, as described in the book, uh, monogamy and polygamy. Wolves and certain birds are monogamous, while lions and spotted hyenas are polygamous. Also, there's the use of color and dance-like movement in courtship. Fiddler crabs wave their large claw at females, while giraffes bang necks as a form of consent and confirmation of healthy physiological condition. Male peacocks waving their colorful tails for a female's attention. And side-blotched lizards with different throat colors have different roles in mating. In relation to courtship rituals, things like color and dancing are stimulus that elicit behaviors. These aid in sexual reproduction and therefore survival because they contribute to sexual selection. The impact that sexual selection and evolutionary history has with each other is intertwined. Sexual selection narrows the gene pool, causing evolution and vice versa. What is a bower? A bower is a structure created by a male bowerbird to attract female bowerbirds, which this has been recognized as basically a bird bachelor pad. Bowers vary in style, medium, height, and size, and time taken to make them depending on the species. They include a yard that is also designed and decorated, fresh ornaments to show that the bower is being used. The bower base is mostly made from sticks and twigs, but they decorate their yards and bowers with different things, which depends on the bird themselves, like stones, twigs, leaves, flowers, bottle caps, berries, fruits, etc. Sometimes even insect like shells and things. A bowerbird is a bird that who builds bowers. There are 20 types of bowerbirds. Bowerbirds are frugivores. Both sexes use mimicry for a variety of reasons, like mating and defense of young and themselves from predators. Um, they mostly are found in New Guinea, but also in Australia. Um, there are several traits that bowerbirds have, and that other birds also have. No bird described on right here has all of them. This photo shows a phylogenetic tree of bowerbirds, which are groups A and B. C is a control group. It displays the phylogeny while also comparing mating traits. One trait is, which is like all the traits over here, are plumage dimorphism. Plumage is the layer of feathers that covers the bird that has specific patterns, colors, and arrangements. Plumage dimorphism is when the male plumage is brighter than the female for sexual selection. Polygamy is having multiple mates, which, as you can see, most bowerbirds are polygamous. Courtship displays are used to signal availability and willingness to mate while also attracting mate. Bower building means obviously they build bowers. And as right here, an avenue bower is a style of bower that curls up like this and has this sort of alcove in the middle. So there's a few examples right here. And then a maypole bower is a bower that stands upright, which we have a few examples here and here. So, mating rituals of bowerbirds. Female behaviors include building the nest alone, raising the offspring alone. Male behaviors include making bowers. They do not help with the nest or the offspring, as they are polygamous. However, they are Sometimes the although sometimes like male bowerbirds sabotage other bowers, a study noticed that spotted bowerbirds have male-male courtship coalitions, in which the subordinate stays in the presence of bower-owning males. Sometimes they make their own bowers, but not often. Bowers owning their own, like bower-owning males, can have huge coalitions of other bowerbirds, which fends off competitors and saboteurs. Now, a description of how bowers are used. Another study describes that spotted bowerbirds use items such as bones and glass as bower decoration to attract females. Glass typically goes closer to the bower, while the bones are spread widely around the bower. And like I said before, they occasionally use insect exoskeletons. So decorations of on the bower can majorly affect male mating success and is honestly one of the biggest points of male mating success in bowerbirds. So specifically, an example would be McGregor's bowerbird. So the steps in McGregor's mating ritual is first to create a bower. McGregor's bowerbird makes a maypole-styled bowers. The bowers can reach around 3 meters tall. This bower takes most of the year, sometimes several years, as he tinkers with it, hanging ornaments, doing backyard, making better, etc. Um, Often working with his own preferred medium, this bowerbird is using stick-covered sap covered plants. Um, Number two, they receive a visitor. Sometimes males sabotage other males' bowers. However, when a female comes around, she inspects it. And if it continues, we move on to point three, courtship. So there's a few parts to this. First, the male shows off his mimicry skills. Um, Bowerbirds are very well known for mimicry. Both can do it. Two, the bowerbirds circle around the bower, basically playing like a tag hide and seek, where they try to avoid being seen while chasing each other around the bower. This can last up to 20 minutes. Three, while doing the same thing as before, the male repeatedly pops out, showing off his orange head feathers puffed up. The female flies away, but then circles back, and this repeats over and over. Here's an example of McGregor's bowerbird decorating his bower. As you can see here, they're kind of like the artists of the bird world and are very particular with the way that they add things to their bowers in order to get a mate, because that's incredibly important. Here's an example from a Netflix documentary called "Dancing with with the Birds," uh, of McGregor's bowerbird using mimicry to impress a female. Uh, the stage two So the stage 2 mentioned is the tag hide and seek move that was discussed. So, conclusion slash learning and takeaway points. There is multiple types of mating behaviors. A bower is a structure made of forged materials made by a bowerbird for mating rituals. Bowerbirds have a variety of traits and ways of making bowers, especially depending on species. But most are polygamous, show plumage dimorphism, and have courtship displays. Female and male bowerbirds have different mating behaviors and parental roles, and McGregor's bowerbirds is a great example of the effort bowerbirds put into both their bowers and courtship displays. And here is the list of the sources that I used to make this.